our response to genocide. Humanitarian relief organizations are doing vital, breathtaking work, but it's up to all of us, as members of the human race, to work to change the situations that necessitate that humanitarian relief. The pattern to date has been ad hoc groups coming together around a particular conflict, creating some noise and holding some demonstrations, and then fading away just as quickly when the mass atrocities lessen. The Genocide Intervention Network was established to give our members a more lasting voice, a more permanent effect on the situation, to create a permanent anti-genocide constituency that makes political inaction in the face of mass atrocities all but unthinkable. Like so many social movements, the leadership in this area has come from below, from Darfurian refugees in places like Indiana and Portland, Maine, from Jewish Holocaust survivors in Florida and New Jersey, from Armenian Americans in California, and from university and high school students across the United States and around the world. We don't want to disturb that dynamic. Our entire organization is founded on empowering our members, specifically with the tools to prevent and stop genocide. And when we looked out at our members who were holding film screenings, having bake sales and benefit concerts, organizing Darfur rallies, creating Facebook groups at a furious pace, where we saw a need was not for another bumper sticker or petition or newsletter, but simply for resources. Activists were being forced to rip copyrighted images off of the BBC or cut and paste information from Wikipedia for their YouTube videos and their flyers, and they were doing it every day all across the country. So we arrived at this idea of an anti-genocide community network proposal. What if we could create a resource in which activists could access public domain images, videos, and interviews from Darfur, and other conflicts as well, the latest statistics and information from expert-level reports? What if they were given the tools to mash it up, mix it around, and produce their own materials in their own voice, with emotional ownership and a pledge of their own participation? And what if we gave them the tools to become local leaders, using tell-a-friend tracking and widgets for their blogs, profiles, and websites? We don't want to replicate what's already there, and so at every step of the way, we want to integrate with the existing networks, tools, and resources. We know that activists who get mobilized in one organization are more than likely to be active again, so we have no membership requirement for participation. Our sole purpose is to build out the anti-genocide movement by empowering activists with tools that make their work more effective, whether that's for our organization or an allied organization. Our experience with social networking has taught us that the most powerful thing we can often do for our members and our activists is to give them the tools and then get out of the way. We don't want to own the talking points or rallies or necessarily even the membership roles. We want activists to speak with their own voice, with their own ideas, because in the end, that's what will build an effective anti-genocide constituency. At last year's NetSquared conference, Ethan Zuckerman from Global Voices Online said one of the hallmarks of social networking for social good has been the moving away from speaking on behalf of others and more toward amplifying people's voices. We don't want to speak for activists, we don't want to speak for our members, because we know that they can speak for themselves. There's a wealth and abundance of resources in this room, from organizations and funders, from technical gurus. We hope some of you will join us and realize that each one of you can really have a hand in stopping genocide. Thank you, and I look forward to our collaboration.
A video player, because it's open source and it's open standards, and it's absolutely focused on changing the way media works in this country and around the world. The problem that prompted us to start this organization is something that I think all of us see every day and live in every day, and that's the quality of the mass media. A healthy democracy absolutely depends on having good media, media that makes sense for people, and television is by far the most dominant medium in our culture. The internet hasn't changed that. It hasn't even really decreased the number of hours people are watching TV. It's as important as ever, and I think we've all seen in the past few years that some disastrous decisions have been made because of the kinds of news coverage and media focus that happens in the very consolidated and closed television world. The internet is a real chance to change this, and to change this not just in a positive shift, but in a really radical re-understanding of that. And the core foundations of the way the internet works are open, but the way video is developing online is not. It's a tangle of closed standards, proprietary systems, and we're now seeing a real gold rush of companies, cable networks, .coms, that are all trying to find a way of controlling video online, getting users into their own system and their own proprietary solutions. So we build Miro, and we're launching Miro out of beta in the next few weeks, specifically to address this problem. We think that an open source, open standards piece of software that puts the user at the center of the aggregation, rather than the video hosting company, rather than the television network, is the key to changing the way television works as it moves online. We're in what's really a very fast-moving battle for the future of video, the future of television, and it's being defined right now over the next few years. And we think it's incredibly essential that an open standard emerge for video, and we're not playing catch up for the next 20 years. The benefits to the users are that they become in control, and the benefits to the publishers is that they can publish in any way they want and still reach that user base. They aren't forced to go through all the gatekeepers that have controlled television online. And if you try the software, I think you'll start to get an idea concretely of what that means. For nonprofits, it's a great way of connecting with your users. It's an open way that people can use with our software and any other method, and we'd love to talk to you about how you can use it to connect all the projects in this room, connect to your audience, and make a kind of powerful connection that video allows. But the most fundamental thing is really this broad chance to change media, change television in a really dramatic way. And I think the question I'd like to have you ask is, who do you want to have control TV in the future? Who should be in charge of video online? And I don't think it should be the networks. I don't think it should be .coms. I don't think it should really be anybody. As much as possible, it should work the way the rest of the internet has worked. It should be open in the way that lets the internet flower. And I think our project, we're definitely the most prominent nonprofit right now working on this. We've had great support from Rappaport's Mitch Kapoor, Cerna Foundation. We even have a grant from Mozilla that we just received last week, which is the largest that they've given to an outside project. We're within striking distance, and I think we have a real opportunity to be able to shift video in an open direction. But we're up against massive companies, all sorts of companies that see the money that's in video and want to own it and control it. I think we have a chance to win this fight, and I think that as we're moving out of beta to the 1.0, and with the support of NetSquared, we can really make that happen. So I hope that you all give us your support. Thank you.
All of us use maps, and I suspect that all of us have used GIS, MapQuest, Google Earth, and other well-known tools. But how many of us have used GIS to save lives? And I'll come back to that question. Here's how Wikipedia defines GIS. A geographic information system is a system for capturing, storing, analyzing, and managing data. Data can be referenced to a point on our planet. But definitions don't explain much, so here is a true story. In late 2001, Marie Davis, a volunteer nurse with an American NGO, climbed on a Russian helicopter chartered by the United Nations at an airfield in Mazar-e-Sharif, Afghanistan, with a small team of other volunteers and an interpreter to visit an Afghan village in the mountains. The conflict in the region was still in progress. Marie could hear occasional gunfire at night. Marie could not communicate with the pilot, nor could the interpreter. The pilot knew where the village was and flew the team there and back before sunset. But Marie did not know where she was. Not before, not during, not even after her visit to provide health care to the villagers. The only available maps had Russian place names. All of the results of this mission, the number of people examined and treated, their condition, their needs, were recorded without reference to where the village was. Marie's report was filed with many others, but it lacked one key parameter: where had they been? With a GPS receiver and a sat phone, Marie could have communicated her position to the UN Information Center and her own team base, where the mission data, geocoded with latitude and longitude, could be entered in minutes on a digital dynamic map, which could be reviewed instantly anywhere in the world. There are mission advantages: identifying what illnesses and malnutrition the team observed, which enables sound planning for subsequent missions. There are reporting advantages: identifying what illnesses, reporting advantages for management and donors who need to find out what is going on. There are marketing advantages. Our team helped the remote village of Tandahul yesterday, treating 460 residents, mostly children and women. And security, which starts with knowing where your teams are. Not optional if you operate where people routinely carry weapons, where radios can fail, where helicopters and trucks can break down. Business units worldwide now routinely post data to digital maps, accessible online anywhere in the world. GIS is becoming pervasive. GIS solutions can and do work well not only for relief teams, but for environmental research, social analysis, health and medical care, civic engagement, and virtually any social project. The problem is this: how can nonprofit and humanitarian organizations find out what GIS solutions are available, proven, and suitable for their specific purpose? There is no help desk, no user support service to inform nonprofit managers of best practices, success stories, and the do's and don'ts in addressing GIS. GIS is not an optional tool for a few super users. It is an enabler for every nonprofit that needs to understand complex data in their community, for every project that is serving people in need, for every relief team in a disaster zone. Successes can be replicated in tools and processes to other areas of interest, other geographies, and other vertical sectors. Our vision has two parts. First, in creating positive social impact, GIS is a multiplier for nonprofit teams working in community action, affordable housing, education, preserving endangered species, water and agricultural development projects, and of course, disaster response. Geospatial analysis is essential in all of these, but too few nonprofit managers know how to integrate it into their operations and planning. It appears intimidating, and it should not. Second, to overcome the barriers to technology transfer, we know that a revolution in web-delivered digital maps and map-based analysis is underway and will change the way nonprofits solve social, environmental, and humanitarian problems. The MAPS 2.0 community of practice will be a fun boost to the nonprofit and humanitarian teams that are otherwise on their own in navigating through the new and confusing world of GIS. We have formed partnerships with Aspiration, Mercy Corps, Catholic Relief, Oxfam, and others. And I do thank you for your collaboration on this project.
You know, if I get loud, because I get very excited about this project. And I'm very grateful to be here today. 10 years ago, I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Swaziland and struck up a relationship with orphan street kids in Baban. One day they asked me if I'd like to see where they lived. So they took me on a booby-trap path through trees in the local park. They built a house out of everything you could think of. Cardboard, pieces of metal, plastic, and had a fire pit with a neat circle of makeshift seats. while they were serving me tea, I was quietly struggling to figure out a way I could help them. As I was thinking, the oldest one said to me, "Miss, if there's anything we can do for you, let us know." I was immediately humbled. Why did I think I would know best how to help them? I realized that these kids had more knowledge of the city we lived in and were more resourceful than anyone I knew. Effective, sustainable support of these youth must also include them as active partners. Today, there are over 13 million orphans in sub-Saharan Africa due to HIV/AIDS. Most are extremely isolated. After losing their parents and extended family members, many youth are now in charge of taking care of younger siblings by themselves. In Swaziland, the World Food Program just announced that 10% of households are led by a child. The newest mobile hardware breakthroughs provide a radically new way that nonprofits will be able to serve their clients, reaching those most isolated and actively partnering with them and other organizations to best meet their needs. Youth Assets envisions a world where orphans and other vulnerable youth have unfettered access to knowledge, resources, and opportunities to create the future they imagine for themselves, their communities, and their world. Youth Assets is a knowledge hub centering on 20 critical assets chosen by youth that will help them reach their full potential. For example, access to clean drinking water, knowledge on caretaking younger siblings, their last contact with a doctor, and the location of the nearest school. Through an interactive WebMD-type interface, youth will receive and share information on a mobile device that is integrated with information from local service providers. As a result, the social impact is that youth will have access to appropriate information when they most need it. Additionally, this data can be displayed in a community map, thanks Maps 2.0, creating a powerful tool for collaboration across multiple sectors that results in the most effective management of resources and attracting additional donors through identification of youth's most critical needs. Solutions for orphans must be sustainable. With the price of a cellular handset approaching $10 and the cost of laptops plummeting, it is no longer a question of if these technologies are accessible, but how to best use them. Our nonprofit financial model generates income from selling aggregated data and charging service providers for more visibility on the website. This income can be passed to youth who could earn extra mobile technology services as they map their own communities. This could spur additional business opportunities for them as they create new uses for these devices. Youth Assets technical innovations leverage the newest mobile applications as a platform for location-based services crucial in connecting youth with fundamental information, while capturing their inherent knowledge of the local community. For instance, the new phoneshow.com, I don't know if people have seen that, uses cell phones to support interactive audio podcasts. Using audio with orphans can sidestep literacy issues. Synthesis Inc. is developing a new interface for cell phones that allows untrained people to enter, annotate, and search through information in a geographic database. This information can be used by youth and service providers to visualize progress and gaps in services. By combining open source and commercial technologies with social services into a seamless web, Youth Assets can be at the forefront of providing sustainable information and communication technologies for orphans. We are a pre-launch startup, and your feedback over the next 2 days and your support is absolutely invaluable to us as we work to support African youth. Imagine running into these youth today using mobile phones to download home remedies for a sibling's cough, upload the location of their nearest school, or record a tip for other orphans. I would like to close with a quote from Muhammad Yunus, who stated, "An individual poor person is an isolated island by himself and herself. IT can end that isolation overnight." Thank you.